Say that though, say that.
Inspiration.
It's basic, man.
Fuck it.
Uniform garment shit.
Uniform garment shit. Yeah, I'm my own cheerleader, nigga. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You already
Know how the guard get.
Say that.
Yeah. We the immortal rap titans, guerrilla rhyme goons. Spit poisonous typhoons at all my rivals. Mercenary militia squeezing semi-rifles. I advise you to analyze and think like the wise do. Deprived rappers of life, no one reviving you. Attached to the track with words sticking like Velcro. Technical foul wordplay, I'm throwing elbows. Bridge parallel to brimstone as far as hell go. Babies embracing guns soon as they done with Elmo. Had the same fate at one time and I'm doing well though. Prime Minister, the treasurer, rap embezzler, crime, etc. Nuclear warhead peddler. I go the distance, y'all niggas can't even measure up. 2-5, greatest alive, nothing's ahead of us. The most gracious armor, federal agent dodger. Prototype, they styles, I basically fathered it.
God is back. You fathered that. More than a part of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. I'm bringing the gods back. Peace. More than a part of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that.
Rare lines from a rare breed, viral news feed. Right toxicology doctrine on any loose leaf. Lose sleep, terrifying rappers over new beats. Blue heat combined with a gamma gram at a few speed. Penetrating the mic's body, the cuts too deep. Poetry is pain in my vein and you can't contain a beast. Conquer the streets, corporate America I release. Not my apex and my exodus, it's a summary. Spit with a passion, the Ming dynasty. Hungrily, overlord, underworld, nigga, use an underling. Fall back, I'm counting money that all the runners bring. Building empires while y'all steady crumbling. Tootin' almond when I'm rhyming, son of a king. Cause I'm a different species and a different being. So I'm a visionary seeing what the gods seeing. In the cockpit, swerving in the European.
God is back. You fathered that. More than a part of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. I'm bringing the gods back. Peace. More than a part of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that.
Mock these spit with the highest degree of the sun's heat. Enemies meet on the battlefields when the gun meet. Carnivores out in the jungle, my predators eat. Hang with you, sip cognac, turn them things on you. Hit you in your neck, fuck around, put fangs on you. Uniform garments, the cane costs all rap. Bang you on your torso, nigga. It is what it is, therefore it's destined to be. Chasing the bag till they lay a nigga deceased. So all my young MCs bring it back to the east. I ain't hating, I love to see my people just eat. But I hate when niggas aura snatch, styles get jacked. I come from a different standard, I don't come from that. This is non-stop spraying, no intervals. I'm clutching the Ruger inside of my interviews. Yeah, the most underrated and the most ridiculed.
God is back. You fathered that. More than a part of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. I'm bringing the gods back. Peace. More than a part of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that.
Yeah. For everybody out there going through it, man. No matter what go down, man, keep your mind focused on what you gotta do, man. Don't let nothing deter you from that, you know what I'm saying? Real spit. That's off the no bullshit DVD, man. Walk with me, man. Walk with a nigga, yo. Hey yo, they can't believe it, paraplegic, that's how I leave them. Long as I'm breathing, go hard, make sure the scale's even on the pavement. The souls of the young, you hear them screaming, drug-induced demons. I was a baby searching for meanings that I couldn't find. Only the blind, leading the blind, kept an open mind, searching for food, a better grind. School system wanna trick them, make them a victim. Shit is more wicked, young blood seen him and tried to kick it, said his life was different. Regardless to that, you still gifted, then his mind shifted. Caught him in the struggle, just drifting. To be more specific, seemed like the nigga was tripping. I done been there and done that. Squeeze guns and soul crack, but still got my eyes on the prize, that's where my mind's at. But times change due to the game, look how it got us now. Most foul, caught in the gentrification out the owl. Meanwhile, laws get changed, but not in our favor. But now or later, it seems for the seas we greater. Disregard a hater, VP, most valuable player. Line innovator, stay in the field, get it to straight up. Yeah, get your weight up, fuck a snake, could never play us. Eyes open, always on focus, my niggas stay up. Yeah. S.STREET. You already. Words, an artifact. Yeah. Artifact shit. The wolves is out. Be divine. Man. 2-5 forever shine. Always.
Let's get it, yo. I'm like a beast still with rabies, mouth foaming. Your rhymes melatonin, zoning, rappers cloning, saying young dumb shit with the mumble flows. Divine master dope, fentanyl lace, double dose. Iller than Zika, this track is a heater. Water boils on stoves, carbonic in beakers. Put tapes out trunks, get highs like tweeters. Destined to be great, beneficial since a fetus. Now developed to a leader with the third eye swole. Rap up pathology to $1 billion goals. Catch me on my grind, got no time for Twitter trolls. 2-5 man, known to play my role. Name rings bells like holograms on blue bills. Lived walks through hell's gates every time my shoes filled. Built with gods for the wisdom, not buzz. Hip-hop revived through us, it really was. It really was. Hip-hop survived through us, it really was. Off the tip of my tongue, my penmanship endless is getting ringed in the sun. Scroll some OG, be divine, came to the cut. Displaying me some heat that had me singe the sheet. Easily flip, cop the P, chop me a zip. Evenly split, hit the breeze, the queens get the shits. Off to the wrist, running with a force to be reckoned with. In the lab, conducting some sort of experiment. No comparisons, experiment with an ear for the hardcore shit we live for. To bring forth, lift off, but times are hard, you gotta get yours. Get your face chewed or limbs bit off in this zombie apocalypse. Straight out the pits with the fiends of hockey shit for a rock to hit. My concoction knocks demons unconscious. Manifested destinies, treasures, and fortunes.
Yeah, the invincible, untouchable, 2-5. Combine rhyme, modernized rap for day and time. Yeah, they love that. Microwave rap and trap shit, dub that. Splash niggas in back, Gorilla Mac. Always, my fangs hang money more ways. Ray K, those who violate whatever God say. Come through, immaculate Mac shit to gun you. 1-2, microphone check. Yeah, 1-2. Hopper suit, ninjas on deck. Militant shoe, chase paper, double-edged sword, spit razor. For all haters, accurate shots, sharp as a laser. Major players, niggas get rocked more than Amadeus. We the scrapers, making papers. Label us the greatest, rap savers, slaying all the infiltrators. Mach D, LIC, that old fly shit. Swerve foreign and hang glide for do or die shit. Die shit, die shit, die shit, die shit, die shit, die shit.
The hip-hop writer is a creator, composing understanding words of culture brilliance, powering a rebalance of the elements equally. Pages of rejuvenated reaffirmation, simply the almighty leadership of insightful craft work that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly, uses his ears for the good to filter the real. And as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing it in the print. Today's journalist and tomorrow's historian he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt executed again and again and again. This is the Power Right Show on S.STREET Media. This is your brother, the lone low life with the home-sewn garment, the Boricua with the build, the true and living God stepping in score, Sunyas Allah, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low. And we're on S.STREET Media, the evolution of media. Every intrigue will have its own show, every incredible thought will have its own episode, and every timeless insight will be archived. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the only show in the history of hip-hop on my element, the hip-hop writer, of what I've called of art on art and science on music. These are real, original, artistic creations on the art that I witness, that I cover, that I review, that I critique, that I talk shit about, that I live with, that I let it be my atmosphere.
That's right.
And science on music, some deeper shit than, you know, this beat is hot, this beat is paltry, this beat is fun. A little bit more than that. So this is the only show in history on this hip-hop writer element of a veteran over 20 years doing this. You know what I mean? Doing this in every single place. And the reason my resume is long and strong is because I leave it everywhere that's weak and feeble. So just to give an example of art and art, I have a guest here who is, by many accounts though, when people that really collect hip-hop, That means the people that really dig for it, the people that are obsessed with it, the people that know this shit. You know what I mean? The people that have anger and word their anger in his quotes. You know what I'm saying? That word their poverty, though, in his ideas. You know what I'm saying? That finds solace in his poetry when shit gets real. I wrote a piece on one of his LPs, though, and I wrote this bit of art in art. And to me, it describes my brother here. I called it the All Report Visa. Wanted on no counts, desired on the humble mounts. The real boost in the polo cipher is the love in the cipher. A pernicious polo swordsman posted pious, papered as pompous, yet littered as a linguist of the cunning structures. Ready to wrangle past the rugged individualist with the logo of original creativity, the emblem of knowledge itself, and the seal of love and loyalty. Counters count 1, 2, boom, bap, do. Just some music to sell and things to do. They say that, sadly so true. So I verse us against the zealots for ends, means of games to thrones, crowns that crowd in clouded clumps of feverish lust. All in this majestic tragedy, where only clothed eyes and the exact garments detect the invisible renaissance. Where Gaddafi always returns to the essence because crescendos of new combat resurrect him. To the warriors, the blood that stills in fluffy forms, that hit the outer surfaces of our melanized membranes, melting ideas into lettered flakes of fury. After battles, I often soil the logos, filthy the emblem and drench the seal, but never do they rust. All in the matrix still reporting. The warfare is all written inside the books of my own element. Peace. That was a piece I wrote to honor who I think is one of the great lyricists. If this was lyrical, it's because it was art on art. My brother Tragedy, the God Tragedy Gaddafi, is here in the S.STREET Music Studio.
Peace, God. I don't want to cut you. God. Yo, that was amazing right there, Lord.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
That had me close my eyes and travel right there.
That's peace,
in
God.
myself.
Yeah. Because I wanted to write it. It's an All Report Visa.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
a fact. That's a fact.
And it's like, yo, when I write, I don't even use the word aura. Like, if you use the word aura, it's a Tragedy Gaddafi word. Like, that's your fucking word. It's such a dope word. And it's like, today's show, we're going to go through these albums. And, you know, I say this all the time, the way journalism, the way understanding this music, we're not here to tell you, like, you go get this album. It's really dope. When does it come out?
Yeah.
Everybody can find this shit. We're going to highlight to you why he's so dope. Every time I have Tragedy Gaddafi, I highlight to you why he's so fucking ill. So it's almost like we're watching Jordan clips, and we pause it right here. Did you just see what the fuck he was doing here with the dribble? The way he broke his leg right there? You know what I mean? Like, so we're going to be pausing here, right? And if we could juxtapose it with Jordan, we're going to be pausing here right at the point between Jordan had his arm here in the 91 finals and before he switched it to the left hand. This is the point we're going to be at to show you the details of Tragedy Gaddafi. You know what I mean? And as always, you know, Tragedy, you're clutching a Ruger inside of my interview, right?
Only in the mind, God. Only in the mind sometimes.
I had to use that because you said that.
But not in this one.
Yeah, I'm quoting from Immortal Titan song because I had to quote something off. If I see him, I got to quote that in the interview because he actually said that. You know, here's how I see Gaddafi, right? If G-Rap is the grandfather and Nas is godson, then the father is Tragedy. You know what I mean? That's Pops right here. You know what I mean? So when you're seeing people with it's the word choices, the details, the cut phrases, you know what I'm saying? The slang, all of this kind of stuff. We give a lot of credit to other legends like Raekwon and others for making such unique slang. And we don't really highlight the amount of slang that you were coming up with that is so part of the vernacular. It's abnormal. Like, hey, you know that you know, Tragedy was the one that said that first, right? You know, it's like, oh, that's such an ill line. It's like, yeah, you didn't say that shit first. You know what I mean?
Factual.
But yo, we also have some serious topics. So I want before I get in there and we break down some of this greatness of your GOAT candidacy, which is what I have to call it though.
Yeah. There
are brothers out there like my brother Max Lowe, peace to Max Lowe.
Peace to Max Lowe. Peace to Max Lowe.
That brother finds you. He puts you in his top 5. He champions you in all the places and shit. And I think that he probably gives you about 100 more cells. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. Peace to Max Lowe.
Yeah, word. And but before I get into that, I want to talk about something very important though, and very odd too, because I say that with respect to what I call the 3 pillars. This is what I teach and this is what I live. I call the 3 pillars knowledge of self, love and loyalty, and original creativity.
Okay.
And to me, one of those pillars is grossly broken in the 2 people that you were suing right now. And so it was a basic thing, but so many people questioning it.
Yo.
So for a background, you were suing Master P because he named his album that is out now Intelligent Hoodlum. Like,
Exactly.
And at the same time, you're also suing Ice Cube, right? For using the title "Arrest the President." Right?
Well, I'm not actually suing Ice Cube.
Okay.
But with Ice Cube, it was a little different because, first of all, I want to say this. We're dealing with social media. Obviously, that's what hip hop is merged into. That's what kind of engulfs hip hop now. Social media. That's our forum. It's a form of independence for us. It's a form to network. It's a form to build social value and things of that nature, and bring awareness to our brand. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're involved in. So there's a lot of people who, you're gonna have suicide rhyme holders. That's what I call them. You know what I'm saying? They suicide gram holders. They're gonna shoot at you, say crazy shit.
See, he just did it again, though.
You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
dope.
yeah, you're gonna
suicide gram holders.
Yeah, like they suicide gram holders.
Yeah.
They gonna shoot at you. You know what I'm saying? And say little slick things because they're hiding behind, that illusion again, God. They're hiding behind that screen, behind an account. You know what I'm saying? And not really knowing and understanding what it's all about, but yet they screaming hip hop when it's convenient for them to scream hip hop. Now, I say this to say, one, first and foremost, right? You got to understand for me, like, and I was just penning this in my book the other night. I just saw the NWA movie, right? I just saw it. I don't really jump on things like that, especially when I feel like I kind of knew the history or kind of walked alongside these dudes. I never feel like movies are gonna do them right once it gets in Hollywood. That's just me. So I had a bias towards it. I'm saying all this to say, right, I saw the movie for the first time the other night, and I was moved by that shit. And I was especially moved by Ice Cube's performance in the portrayal of his reaction to feeling betrayed. And it just hit me like, wow, this dude of all people took my title. How do you do that? Like when you speak of knowledge of self and love and you talk about those pillars and you talk about those stages, how do we go from being like, the champion of, for lack of a better term, within that situation, that whole NWA situation, righteousness, and being, a torchbearer of the culture, but then you go and you take, an obvious title that came from me, an obvious song concept that came from me, and you don't even give me no honorarium. Now, that's some culture vulture shit in my eyes. You got Dame Dash and Flex going back and forth, and now Nick Cannon involved in the whole culture vulture spiraling war or whatever. And, there's a lot of other culture vultures who are not white, bro. You know what I'm saying? And those are the worst culture vultures. Like we say, the worst devil. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they should know better.
They should know better. How you do that? So I didn't sue Ice Cube. My attorney and the firm I'm using, they sent a cease and desist letter because it was just a single. But still, Master P, I sued because Master P actually took the whole body of work. Now, as an artist, and someone said this to me, and it really resonated, and it really like hit me like, wow, you're right. They said, as an artist, there are certain songs that make you up to people. He said, Intelligent Hoodlum is that album, and Arrest the President is that
You're
song.
talking about Chris Castro, because I heard the podcast.
Exactly.
I know you're a piece of Chris Castro.
Exactly.
Who has the drive-bys with
Yes,
Chris Castro.
yes. That's our show. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that.
But so when you take that, or you try to take that because you're not taking it, or you're not going to take it without a fight. But when you try to take that, you actually are trying to steal someone's legacy. When you try to steal someone's legacy, shit, if that's not culture vulturing, I don't know what is, God. Because when you try to take someone's legacy, you're trying to take from what they are, but not just what they are, what they built. You're trying to take from what their building will morph into. You're trying to take from what preceded them to get them to the point to even make that bill. You're trying to wipe their whole shit out, God. And that's like taking my seeds out and taking my old earth out. And you know what I'm saying?
Right, because for the listener, right, Intelligent Hoodlum was your MC name before you went to Tragedy Gaddafi.
No. Yo, you're right, I'm bugging. You're right. Pardon me. When you said tragedy, I just harped on the tragedy. I didn't
Right.
call it Tragedy Gaddafi. Tragedy was my name before Intelligent Hoodlum, and then after Intelligent Hoodlum, it was Tragedy Gaddafi. You're right and exact. That's peace.
That's peace, guy. Right. So when he uses that title, he's taking your whole persona. You know what I mean? And
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah,
That's why I said, why would you? You're aura snatching. We come from a time when. Why would you want to be an aura snatcher? I don't. The standard I come from, the standard I come from in hip hop, that is looked down upon. That shit is disgusting. Like, and it's, and a lot of people may say whatever. I don't care what people say, really. Like, I got love. I'm not trying to shit on nobody, but I gotta say this, like, and I don't not like the guy personally, but I didn't understand how Action Bronson could come out and sound like Ghost, and people just embrace that.
Right.
And you know what though? It's one thing to sound like somebody, because let's be real. When we start off, we all kind of like take from.
Right. We come from a school we're most influenced by.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There you go. So it's like, when I first started out, I sounded like somebody. Everybody, even the greatest, sounded like somebody at some point until they kind of came into their own identity through experience, through development, through wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So that's a natural thing. But when you do it in a sense and you kind of like become arrogant about it and then try to throw shots at the originator, like Action Bronson did, it's kind of like tacky.
And never really ended up sounding more and more like him. Which is the thing,
like how do you do that? And how do we and
that's the thing though, like
how do we allow this to happen?
I call this the invisible renaissance, but it's primarily invisible because the artists that are blowing up, biting is a trend. And it's allowed to sound like somebody else if you're doing it big now.
You ever watch, I'm pretty sure you're a creative dude. You probably was into cartoons back in the day.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You ever was into like Justice League?
Of course, yeah.
Remember like the Bizarro shit? It was like it was like Justice League upside down.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what hip hop is right now.
It really
it's
is.
Hip hop upside down.
Yeah, it really is, because I see people people are okay with it, and they'll go, look, but he's doing it now.
People okay with a lot of shit.
He's doing it now, so it's okay.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
Or he made this amount of money. Like not to stray away, but I want to finish this and then get into some. But like again with Master P, and the main thing I'm saying, and I want to stress to everybody is that I had people, he's starving for money, it's all about money, he's trying to get money,
I saw some of that.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because it's like, so if I take, and me and my brother said this on the show, if I get your credit card and I start banging and swiping, that's cool? It's cool for me to just take your identity?
Yeah.
Shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people that talk and fans, they're not spending time. They don't know what it's like to create something and then have it stripped from them.
It's your child. So now, now we live in a streaming world. We live in a world of technology. So now when you put Intelligent Hoodlum, this bozo comes up. And when you put Arrest the President, Ice Cube comes up first.
Yeah.
You got to go 3 pages down to get to me.
And this is, I want to disassociate this thought right here from you, and this is not your thought. But I didn't hear the Master P album, and I heard Ice Cube's album because I'm a fan of Ice Cube. First 4 albums, I love them. And I got the album. And I literally was like, this is okay if I delete it. Because it was fucking horrible. Yeah, it was crazy. Him rhyming on a lot of cadences that don't work. And Arrest the President was not really a good record.
Nah.
It was not a good record. It didn't have the intensity, and it sounded like that had the big 3 flow. Like for FS1, sounds good for FS1.
That was crazy.
It was a little too jingleized.
Arrest the President.
Yeah, it was jingleized. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
I think you should stay away from that.
Someone like you deserves to be protected because you're actually making music that is still progressive. So you deserve all of the progressive things you did yesterday to be part of the reality now. And I find it's fucked up, but I find it ironic because you have spent so many verses talking of so much of your slang is based on people take this like. And it's like you have wholesome aura snatchers, all of that. And like, you're telling us listeners, like, they will take your creations. And then when they take them, people write on your Instagram and go, "Why are you getting mad?" It's like,
Yo,
I just rhymed about this for like 3 years and you loved it. Like,
exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. You get it, yo. You get it.
it's just wild. It's just
Yo,
wild,
you get it though.
doesn't
You
make
get
any
it.
sense,
You
though.
get it though.
Let me tell you something.
Wait, hold on. Time out. Not time out. You know how frustrating that is? Yo, you actually get it though. People don't get that.
It's odd, yeah. I'll tell you something. It's because nobody has the feeling of what it means to make something and then have it taken away by someone else. First time I was ever jacked, I was writing for Vibe.com. Yeah, fuck all y'all, right? 1999, where it was blatantly bitten. Not just styles, techniques, and shit. Because people used to call me up and say, "Yo, can I use that thing you did?" And they was my man. So I was like, "You don't can use it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty whack because I wouldn't do that. But
Not
yeah,
at all,
anyway,
not at all.
we're not talking about that, you know? But I write, Inspector Deck's Uncontrolled Substance was a 12-song album. But Loud Records was being, they was being bootlegged heavily.
Yeah,
So they said,
that was the era.
let's add songs to it. And the copy I got was 12 songs, and it was grimy. Had 2 songs that didn't appear on the final. I reviewed it. And they didn't use it because it wasn't really from the final album.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I don't care because I got paid, right? Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, I'm going through Vibe.com, and I'm seeing Inspector Deck Uncontrolled Substance. I said, let's see what this dude came up with. And I'm seeing, like, the first 3 paragraphs are a repeat of my intro, of what I introed. Man, I went up in Vibe, and I was hooping and hollering. I never found who it was that was doing that. But
How did you not find him, though?
I didn't know who did it. I was mad green then. I didn't understand, like, and it was the web, so they didn't always give credits, and they didn't have to put a masthead particularly. So I was confused about who to go to. Yeah. So, and it was just crazy. But again, when you green, what I'm saying is, like, most people that talk shit, they've never met a bougie black brother that knows all about hip hop, has seen more hip hop shows than you because he has more money, and gives 2 shits about rap, and it's just a hustle to do other journalism work. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. So when we have to protect the things that we write, they don't understand it, though. You know what I mean? But unless you have something else to say, I think it's pretty clear cut. We go into something else and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I also want to say,
in closing
in this, that I reached out to Ice Cube and Master P on the gram months before I took any legal action.
Okay. And no
response.
No
so
response.
let's keep that. Let's factor that in as well.
Yeah. After a while, you have to do something. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because this is something blatant because Ghostface can't sue Bronson. And you better do your research, Bronsonites, because early Bronson was using the word nigga, and he never flowed like that because you don't have enough J-Love mixtapes to know what Bronson sounded like in the beginning.
That's an artifact.
The man that put him on, and even J-Love wasn't too happy about the direction that he took.
That's an artifact.
And see who J-Love DJ'd for, and then you'll know why it took so long for Ghostface to even bother with this issue, because he was being nice.
That's an artifact. That's right.
Right? Do your own research, though. But the thing is, though, is that
the God is sharp. You sharp.
I
God.
do my research, especially when I say somebody's biting and a piece of shit.
You sharp, God.
You know what I'm saying? So like, when they're doing stuff, right? It's not just the voice; it's the cadence, though. It's the grouping of the words. You know what I'm saying? Like, on a deeper level, like, and this is a question to you, like, there's such a unique style of grouping words, though, that. Where do you draw the line, though, on other aspects? Like, this is blatant theft of, like, actual things. Your name, title of a song, and the theme of the song.
Yeah.
But people are jacking you tragedy every day.
I know.
And what's the difference? Where do you draw the line? Like, that's a homage, or I don't really feel what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
You can kind of tell in the energy in which they do it, in the aura in which they place it. You know what I'm saying?
There goes the aura.
There goes the aura.
This is the whole aura series. The aura series.
The energy, man. The aura series, man. You can tell the energy and the aura in which they place it in. Like, you know, it was a time where I felt, you know, maybe Nas didn't feel like, you know, he should show that honorarium. Maybe for whatever reason, maybe he didn't feel comfortable doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, and I feel in time he went through a lot of growth and development. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I would walk in the show and he'd stop his show and give me the most honorary salute. Mm-hmm. He stopped the whole show. And I mean, I never looked for that from him. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, and I'm not just saying this, like, I'm a real humble dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to stay low. I don't like all of that. I never was comfortable with that. I was never comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I never fit in that kind of space. I kind of like, exist in my own orbit type shit. Like, I never needed a praise to like make me feel. I'm too all in my own thoughts to even get that, like, to feel like that type of thing. So I don't look for it.
Right.
So I say all that to say, like, a couple years ago when he did that, I was like, all right, that's peace. You know what I'm saying? And it eased a lot of things between us that we didn't necessarily say were between us, because it was there, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was there, obviously, and people could feel it. I could feel it. He could feel it.
It's just that it's crazy because, for the listener, we're talking about, like, just Illmatic. That is not a word. That's one of the most greatest slang words in the history of hip-hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think one of the most, probably LL with GOAT is probably the only word that's used more than right now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Than that word. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a fact.
Illmatic is like, when you say Illmatic, and people like Nas developed into something unique that is beyond stuff like that, and then you've developed even further from the stages that he was influenced by.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't see that, like the construction of particular words. I feel in your catalog is more what they copy, because it's hard to copy the other stuff that you do. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and some of it's subliminal. Like, we love.
It's very subliminal.
Like, remember last time when we was on DJ Toshi, I was like,
Yes.
People don't realize that you were the one that said rapping in you were the first one to rhyme rapping in.
Yeah,
with
that's right.
something like changing the suffix on things
That's
like
right.
that. You know what I mean?
That's right. You
And
sharp. You're very sharp.
The greatest, like one of the greatest A-Sun lyrics is rapping in is what's happening.
That's
keep
right. That's a
clapping
fact.
in, like,
That's a fact.
And it's based off that riff of your rapping in, and you said it dope.
That's right.
On your shit. But people, they don't remember or they don't know. And I'm sure A-Sun, if he saw you and he was thinking about that line, he would have been like, oh, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
But
peace to the God, man. Rest in peace.
This is why, like, when we talk about GOATs, like, I like to talk about the candidacy, because we're looking at different things, and when we respect all of the categories, then we got to put some people in the conversation and stuff like that. And you got to be in the conversation. You know what I mean?
That's
factual. Have to
factual.
be in the conversation. And real quick notes. We're going to spend very little time on this, though, right? Because you're the God, and it's been a big deal because certain gods, like Lord Jamal on his podcast and his thing, he's made a big deal on his IG about bearing witness to a flat earth. And we in the 5% Nation of Godness, we don't care who the hell is quoting supreme mathematics of the day, having a fancy build about it. If you're saying that the earth is flat, that shit is not right and exact. There's so much science, and it goes beyond pseudoscience, but applied science, though. Seamen have made their way alone with just the science of cartography to make it through, using the latitude and longitude that our people devised and stuff. You
That's
know what
right,
I mean?
as a rule of measurement.
As a rule of measurement, though.
That,
So, like, and like I said, I have family, like grandfathers, everything, that they were merchant marines and stuff, and they were not using GPS. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They were using pencils and tools and doing their cartography, to get home and find their way at sea, and using the stars.
That's
using
right.
The stars. And if you didn't do it under that measure, though, you wouldn't have found your way home.
That's right.
But I just wanted to put that out there because you was like, emphatically now, Cypher, you was like, no, I don't bear witness to that.
Yeah, I don't bear witness to that. I'm gonna say this. I respect the God, Lord Jamal. That's my brother, but I don't agree with that. And I'm looking forward to him and I having to build on it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to him and I having to build on it. And having a sound, a sound equatable build. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna,
Right.
I don't see that, because that would basically like shoot down like the lessons itself.
Yeah, shoot down. Yeah, and he has
To say
been
that.
willing to shoot down the lessons, though, which include science that all has been scientifically proven, really good science, mathematics, all about light itself, which shows him like he has changed light. Light is something else now, if this is not the case. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave it there because you know the God, and like you build with him. I just want to put that out there because there is a distinction. You know what I'm saying? I teach my course, and I've been teaching for this is the 19th year I've been teaching in law school. There's no class longer. And you're not going to walk into a law school in Mecca, try to learn about the gods and earths, and you're going to hear that shit. But in fact, because of this, though, I will give you more proofs if you bear witness to that. And as a final note, though, we, as black people, black, brown, yellow, those who are oppressed, we have to be very wary of what we say, what we suspend our belief in. We don't want you to have belief, but also don't disbelieve things just because. Don't disbelieve so heavily that everything is a lie, even without trying to prove it. Oh, the white man said it, the man said it, the oppressor, so I'm not even going to bear witness to that. That's where we could go astray. It's always a thin line in that, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll leave it there, God, because I want to get into the music. I want to get to all the other things. And before we get into, like, the music and stuff like that, you have a very interesting podcast with Chris Castro. You know what I mean? Very frank conversations, very detailed. Tell me about that.
Yes, Drive-Bys with Chris Castro. I'm an executive producer of the show as well as a co-host. The show is basically, like you just said, it's like, it's not your bio link. You know, it's real talk, real conversation, you know, off the no bullshit forum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, what I found, though, is that the people, when we talk about, like, what fucked up hip-hop, I always attack the journalists because that's my field. I could defend that, and I could strip whoever deserves to be stripped. So I look at myself and the field I'm in first.
Exactly.
And one of the things that our field doesn't do, I don't say that they all have to be creative in how they present the works like I do. But they also don't embed themselves sincerely over the years. So all these great conversations with the artists, they can't really attain.
Nah, exactly.
Because they don't understand what it's like to live out the
not living
culture
it.
or just
Yeah,
really love it like
they're
for
like
themselves.
You said, they're like
you know?
that dude who's just, it's a hustle.
It's there. Like all these big magazines I was in, hip-hop writing or writing about hip-hop music or journalism was a stepping stone to get into a different hustle.
That's right, it's a passport.
You know, so we get on the artists for doing that. Like, I'm going to rap this bullshit, and when I rap this bullshit and make $1 million, I'm gonna apply that to this business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, thank you for destroying my culture for your gain, motherfucker,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then now the next person, he has to make a shittier music because of that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then
And it constantly
Right, and-
devalues, but you're,
exactly.
but you're
and
trying
now,
to take that.
and now
and
that
build
youth
something up.
doesn't have a great way of expressing themselves. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? But because of that, so many of these shows, like everything, like Drink Champs, which if you really are a journalism major, he does everything wrong.
Yeah.
He does everything wrong. Nori does every single journalistic thing wrong.
Crazy.
He gets drunk before he
He's
asks the
crazy.
best questions. He loses focus. You know what I'm saying? But it makes a better conversation, and that's what makes the best type, though. You know,
With Nori,
yeah.
he's entertaining. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
no, absolutely. And he
He's a
gets a lot of
fucking
stuff
clown,
out of
yeah.
people that you don't get out of. So it makes me laugh because
He
I
laughs you into feeling comfortable.
He breaks every single rule. So I'm like, oh shit, journalism checklist.
Yeah,
X. You know what I'm
X.
saying? But he gets stuff out of them because they wasn't trying to have a conversation. You know what I mean? And I used to, when I was young in this, I used to have the pad like this.
The interesting
and he used to
thing-
get people nervous.
The interesting thing about that is that the funny thing about that is Nori, aside from my brother actually being the first person to tell me to start the podcast, was the second person to tell me to start a podcast. When he first started Drink Champs, he told me to start a podcast. But we had some personal things and with him and Combat Jack, so I just was like,
I heard some of that on the.
I was like, I'll never go on your show. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what I'm doing. Hold on 1 second. There's my brother right there. Anyway.
That's peace. That's
Yeah,
peace.
he's calling. Yeah, but you know, I gotta admit, you know, with me and him, it's like a back and forth thing, man. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like that with brothers.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's also another thing because a lot of times a journalist always is always fishing out the conflict as opposed to fishing out the jewel.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? By the 2000s, when I was at magazines and stuff, they were telling me to go on interviews and make sure, like, they give you a checklist, like, things to get. Make sure you get this beef between them. And I would always score horribly because I deliberately would skip that.
Well, you know what?
give him back the
I want to
piece
say
without
something.
that.
I want to say something about
Yeah.
that. Honestly, it's funny because this is my younger brother. I gotta stop saying little brother. I was on the show the other day with Shoe Banger, and I kept saying little brother, and she was like, "Stop calling your brother little brother. He's a grown man." I gotta stop saying little brother.
That's peace.
My younger brother, because he is a grown man, and even more so, like, he teaches me a lot. You know, he teaches me a lot of things in terms of journalism. He's like made for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
a natural. And I learned a lot about journalism through him, believe it or not. Because I've always known hip hop, and I'm pretty sure he's learned a lot of hip hop from me, or certain foundations of hip hop. But I learned a lot of journalism from him and how to look at journalism. Because before then, you got to understand, I was just in kind of like an MC. So it's like I kind of looked at the journalists at one point as the enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you went on shows, dudes tried to play you. So I would go on the show and always be on the defense. So I never looked at myself as being the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just realized that the other day too. I was like, yo, why did I look at journalism with an uncomfortable perspective? And I'm like, now I see why, because I was always the MC, and I come from a time when the MC had to be guarded from, because back then journalists was corny,
and they was
bozos and they was clowns.
Sound
I mean, they were looking for sound bites. You had your Fab Five Freddy's, you had your Ralph McDaniels, who are iconic in hip hop. You had good people who were in hip hop who kind of like straddled it, like D Bonds and people like that. You had different people who were, instrumental in trying to push the culture for it. But there were, and I'm sorry, I didn't mention all the iconic culture motivators. Right. And I'm not saying anybody that I didn't mention is a, whatever. But you had a lot of people who was just straight fucking bozos. There was BOZOs. And so I went into it with that perspective. But now coming into journalism with a different kind of perspective and seeing it for being, my platform, and to implement the part of the culture I see, the part of the culture I speak, the part of the culture I live, the part of the culture I want to empower. You know what I'm saying? That's the culture I want to empower. Because like we said earlier, hip-hop may not be, my hip-hop may not always be your hip-hop. But on my forum, it's going to always be my hip-hop, and I'm always going to give it in an authentic and organic way. And that's what I think we do with drive-bys. Like, sometime on drive-bys, like, we might be a little saucy, man. We might be a little saucy, God.
Right.
We're not going to do that no more. The last interview we had with Ice, I had to look back at that, and it's a learning process for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're not trying to make that. We're not looking for the sound bites. We actually got to.
I will tell you this though, a lot of the MCs and you guys hit gold faster than I did.
Why you say that?
When people see interviews that I do this whole decade, they love them. That's after almost like 50 to 100 interviews. So I had a lot of work to do this year, because, by the way, artists were so defensive that they weren't used to being asked about just the music.
Yeah.
The quality of the music. They weren't used to talking about it.
Yeah.
So they were a little bit off put too.
And I think too,
even with the good stuff.
I think too with drive-bys, which, like I said, like it's an amazing concept, because I mean, I'm not gonna say we don't want to get sponsors. Hell yeah, we do. I'm not gonna say that, girl. I'm not gonna say here. Hell yeah, we want sponsors. I'm not gonna say we don't want to evolve the production of the show. But I feel very strongly at the fact that where we're at with it is growing organically, and I love and I haven't felt like this since the War Report. I feel like drive-bys is my new War Report. Even though I'm a co-host,
right,
and I'm an executive producer. Castro created the show, but I feel like it's my War Report, and I haven't felt that excited in a long time.
Well, that's peace.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to something else, right? Something else that we were excited about were the albums you released last year.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about first Immortal Titans and how you linked up with BP and chose those beats and your strategy behind them.
I linked up with BP through someone who does like a lot of monetization for me. He owns a company called Deep Concepts. His name is Menza. He's also going to be helping out with drive-bys. And he also runs Def Squad streaming for Eric Sherman. His name is Menza, good dude. I was working with him. He was breaking down the whole streaming thing to me, helping me understand the science of it. And we were kind of hanging out. And he was like, yo, man, I got a producer. He wants to do a track with you. So I went to the studio in Long Island, heard the track, wrote to it instantly in like 20 minutes. Wrote a bang. I gotta say this shit was it's a Modal Titans. It's Upper Echelon. The Upper Echelon joint. I wrote that shit in like 20 minutes. No lie. And I was like, yo, man, I ain't into doing these features, man. Let's do a whole project. You got shit like this? You got more shit like this? Let's do a whole project. And he was like, you serious? And I was like, I'm dead ass serious. We did it in a couple of months, banged it out. He kept sending the right kind of tracks. I actually got to get at him. I need some more beats for this oral report too.
Let me ask you, because the first time I built with you, right, on air, I was talking about the invisible renaissance. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
And then, you know, on Upper Echelon, you had said dawns of this renaissance.
That's
you know
right,
what I'm saying?
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. I told you
yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna run with that. Don't
act
like I didn't tell you.
I wasn't suing him. I was like, yes, like you're part of this fucking thing. Like,
We are part of it.
yeah,
Factual.
like this is our shit.
Us. Go
but
fool.
like, the thing about it, right, is I always have to ask an artist like you, right, what has been the key to continue to create through what I call the 2000s, those dark ages?
Yeah.
And now, because I always tell you that if we go back to the 2000s, the dark ages is primarily that in many ways, because so many weaker MCs were heralded as GOAT, legends, icons, and then you were releasing some of your best albums in that decade.
I gotta say this. Maybe that's part of. I draw from so many just aspects of inspiration. Like I draw from. You know, I may be frustrated over just the state of hip hop. Sometimes I may be frustrated over just all the attention I see going to the wrong shit in the world, and I may just I may just see. You know, I may see a couple of dudes that I actually, you know, kind of like gave the blueprint and template to not moving right. And I just feel like, yo, you know what? I gotta show them that, you know, it's not a game. Like I gotta show them that no matter how much they may do this or that in that particular way, I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? I'm better than you because I'm still not tainted. My shit is still organic. You know what I'm saying? My shit is still like impeccable aura. Like you know what I'm saying? My shit is organic. And it's like, I'm not making microwave meals. You know what I'm saying? My shit is hood gourmet, regardless to whom or what. And you know what? Sometimes I get down spells. I'm not always at my apex, but I draw from many aspects of inspiration. I got my brother he's always jumping around with his energy. Like he's like a battery. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny because I just did a track and he's actually going to be featured on again because he's actually on Still Reporting on the Hood track. But he's one of the few people I'll be like, yo, fuck with me on this hook with this one. And I don't do that shit.
Right.
One, because I don't trust dudes to be like, yo, I wrote that hook. Fuck out of here. You ain't write shit. You know what I'm saying? But with my brother, I'll do that because he understands my energy. It's almost like I'm writing it. I'll do that with my brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He know he could get whatever from me, but it's like, I know that energy, but he's always, and I kind of feel like it's because he didn't make his mark yet.
Right.
He's in the process of making his war report, his mark, or his intelligent hoodlum. You know what I'm saying? Or his against all odds. So he can't afford not to be hungry. He can't afford, you know what I'm saying? He can't afford not to. So it's like I can always draw inspiration from him sometimes just through a conversation. And maybe he would say the same thing about me. I would hope he would. You know what I'm saying? If he not, then I need to step my game up and be the brother I'm supposed to be or the comrade I'm supposed to be. But I draw inspiration from many things. I drew inspiration from a book you're a part of. You know what I'm saying? I drew inspiration from that. Just reading that. I was like, wow, that's ill, yo. How do he put his words together like that? I actually reached out to you and was like, yo, God, I need you to help me with this. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm slow with things. I got a lot of things going on.
No, that's peace, God. That's peace, God.
But I didn't forget because
Right.
Go ahead, Lord.
Now, I wanted to ask you about, because we always talk about, I keep talking about, I think it's two things. It's word choice, the way you use words. I'm going to give examples, right? But I want to talk about a song, The World Is Mine, because we were talking about this. And I had this question I came up with. I was like, how to transition to self-education from trick knowledge, undoing the brainwashing. You know, and a lot of The World Is Mine is about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, what were some of those first steps? We were off air talking about some of this stuff like that. What are some of those steps? Like, we see so much stuff today.
I think and again, I gotta relate this to some of the conversation I have with, like, for me, man, like, I'm not really around nobody that's not family. So, like, my bills are more or less with family, whether that be my blood family, very, very close people in my life that I consider to be like family as well. So it's like we have certain kind of conversations, and you know, the conversations we have is like real shit. You know what I'm saying? We have real conversation on real life issues, man. And basically when you have these type of conversations, you have no choice but to look at your life and look at things in a certain perspective. And it's like, for me, like, I've been through a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? And I've been through a lot of battles, a lot of them self-inflicted, you know what I'm saying, for my lack of thinking I knew but didn't really know, you know what I'm saying, having to reprogram my shit. And that's what that song relates to, in terms of like me having to, you know, kind of like stop thinking I know shit that I don't know, and like go with the opposite, whatever that, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo, it's funny. I said this shit to myself yesterday. I did something yesterday I'm not gonna say, but I was like, damn, why I do that? And I was like the minute I did it, I said something actually. And the minute I said it, I was like, why'd you say that? Why'd you say that? Like, and I said, yo, from now on, you know, and this may sound trivial, but this is how deep this goes in terms of like reprogramming yourself and getting outside of what you've been taught. Because what I said something to somebody that I shouldn't have said, but it was basically out of like a survival instinct that I said it. But I'm not in that survival mode anymore.
Got you.
You understand? But it came innately because for so long I've been in survival mode. I grew up that way.
Right.
You know, I come from the world's largest projects. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to grow up in survival mode out there, motherfucker. Matter of fact, you had to grow up in survival mode in my crib. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real about this shit. But I'm not in that survival type of mode anymore. Now I'm in living mode.
Let me ask you one last question about this album.
ahead.
We're going to The Builders.
Go
An album I actually liked even more than Immortal Titans.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't. It's just like,
yo, that's crazy.
And,
see, not to cut you, one more thing. What people like, I be like, to me, Immortal Titans is way crazier than The Builders.
Oh, well, musically, I know what BP gives, so I wasn't that surprised by it.
Okay.
So that'll it might not have to do with you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sometimes I'm listening to records for what I get surprised by, you know, and I like to hear you on things I'm not expecting. You know what I mean?
The Builders, to me, lyrically was mad simple. Like, on Immortal Titans, my wordplay was more intricate.
I get that on other levels too, because you had more themes.
Yeah.
One of the last themes I want to ask you about, because there's so much on Immortal Titans, and that actually may be true.
Do your thing.
But like, you called the song "Story Never Told," but why did it have to be told?
Why did it have to be told?
Because you told it on there.
That's right. That's a fact. Whoa. Yes. I love this dude. First thing I want to say is that it had to be told for the very same reason you just said what you said. You said, yo, when we talking, he put his name in the conversation. Because I started to realize that I looked for y'all to keep me sacred. And a lot of y'all ain't do it. And over the years, it hurt. It hurt because I gave you all of me. I gave you all of me. I gave you so much of me, you have no idea. You have no idea. No idea. And it got to the point where I had to say, yo, you know what? You got to do it. I told you, I'm humble. I don't like attention. You know what I'm saying? I use attention now to get the eyes and the awareness to push the agenda I have to push now. I never liked attention. But now, since I'm in a position to garner attention and navigate through it and channel it, I got to utilize it. Because if I don't, nobody else is going to do it for me or for us in the way that I want to do it.
Because in this song, it brings up something very important to me. This relationship between mentor and apprentice, and when is it broken, what guidelines, you know?
It's funny, man. Like,
because we're looking at that and it's like, how far do I let this mentor take the innovations that I have and claim it for himself or the team under that guide?
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And it's deep because
it's not with knowledge of self, that's not the way we was taught. The innovations of the youth are supposed to stand alone and be pushed forward.
That's right.
And we're supposed to fade in the background.
That's right.
That's not easier said than done.
Yeah.
Even when you have knowledge of self.
Because
it's easier said than done, but that is what we constantly teach.
yeah, well,
You
we
know?
don't always do what we teach, and we don't always live that out. And you know what? I'm not perfect. I love Marley for what he did for hip hop. He represents 3/4 of the golden era of hip hop. He represents a large majority of the basis of where hip hop at its best has become. That's just the facts. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and I gotta say this. I gotta say this too. It's not. It may come off that way. I had to say on the gram. Let me move up on the motherfucking mic. Get close on this shit. But I had to say on the gram because his son approached me on the gram and said something to the effect of like, yo, stop going at my pops. He's 50 years old. And I had to, you know, I respect that. You know, that's his dad. You're supposed to defend your father. You wouldn't be a son, you wouldn't be a man if you didn't defend your father, if you feel like your father's being attacked. Let somebody go at my pops. I'm defending my pops all the way. Straight like that. Right. With no question. All my family. That's an artifact. You know? So I had to, like, you know, as a professional and outside of just a professional, as a brother. Because he's like my little brother. I was there when he was born. But I understand a lot of things he goes through with his pops. I go through some of the same things with my son. I understand his anger. Same way I got to understand my own son's anger. You know what I mean? And so I had to look at it like that and be like, yo, damn, you know what? Let me be careful how I approach this and be honest. Yo, I do love your pops. There is no disrespect. But, you know what I'm saying? Look into what I'm saying. You know, look into what I'm saying. And some of those things can't be, you know, detailed in a sentence or two, but I'm not saying, yo, this nigga's foul. I'm not saying
Right, and I didn't get that.
No,
You know what
I
mean?
didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm saying through the process of not following up, through the process of not being on top of shit, through the process of being somewhat selfish, you fuck people over. And that's just, you know, that's just what happened along the lines with certain things. But yeah, I gotta let people know I made up Laws of the Underground. Yeah, I gotta let people know I sparked world renown. Yeah, I gotta let people know, you know, I brung Joe Fatal and Large Professor to the table. Yeah, I gotta let people know that Large Professor did a majority of the Intelligent Hoodlum album. And and Joe Fatal. I gotta let people know that. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong. It's not me saying Marley didn't do anything. I'm just saying what people did do. Because you know what? People try to do that to me. And I'm not letting nobody do that to me.
They deserve that credit.
And they deserve it.
Because
they
still work.
Yeah.
They still work.
I'm not saying Marley didn't take a chapter, a sample, or a record that they might have gave to him on disc and didn't make it better. I'm not saying that. The same way Nas might have took from, you know, my blueprint or template and made it better and better and evolved it into his own, or, you know, took from it to help make his own. I'm not saying that didn't happen. It's obvious. Look where he's at. He's one of the greatest lyricists ever. I have no shame in saying that. When you comfortable with who the fuck you are, you don't mind giving another man his credit, especially when he qualifies and he earns it. If you do, then something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. And I don't like that type of wrong around me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not with that shit.
That's peace, God. Now, let me give you why. The Builders album, it's more simple on themes. Yes, it's you more blazing the rhymes, though. Yeah. And it's where you can extract some of the simple ideas for the listener. Look at this. Simple ideas, but just I found mad clever. Sofrito, over the beat, my shit is mad McCormick. You know when you say shit like that? Or plus he the heart of the marvelous almanac of rap, bring the aura back. These words don't go good if somebody else says it. Or little phrases like, minute their whole mouthpiece. Or using words incorrectly the way you want to use them. Drape them. When you use your drape them. Like, these are real words, but it's the word choice, the application, the way you
I speak
apply the
Fallion.
word. You know what I mean?
I'm Falmaki. I speak Fallion. I made my own language. It's called Fallion.
And this is what I want the listener to get. Like, when you're listening to the wordplay, this is what wordplay is all about. Like, they influence so many MCs. You know what I mean? Like, using the word choices in different places, like just totally.
I mean, not to cut you. Let me add on.
No.
It's this shit to me. That's hip hop. Like I'm like when they made the turntable, they didn't make the turntable for the DJ to go. The DJ came and said, "Yo, I gotta scratch that record." Yeah. So when I get these words, I'm not getting these words in which, you know, the way they want me to use it. I'm getting these words and I'm making them hip hop. I'm scratching these words.
I want to give a listener another example of something so small, but gave a whole technique to Capone and Noriega. Really,
talk to me. I'll talk back.
Soul That Part 1, right?
Uh-huh.
Technically, it's like the way he eliminates the pluralization or the verb tenses to rhyme and give it a dialectic style, right? When you said most villainous crook with composition book, that's grammatically wrong.
Of course.
With composition books, you don't pluralize.
That's right.
And you skip a lot of the science, but like the whole illness of Noriega is that he skips a lot of grammar. You know, got composition book. Like
exactly.
He skips so much of the linking words.
He jumps over it.
And when you started rhyming like that, it influences everything. It's a whole style. Like that whole technique is Queensbridge now.
I think one of the and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of things we do is I'm gonna relate to my brother again, and I'm gonna relate to the guy right here, Malcolm, because he was saying the other day, yo, a lot of shit you do sometime you do because you was trying to do something else. You feel me?
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff I did is because I was trying to do something else, but couldn't fit it in and couldn't breathe. So I had to cut the word. And then I was like, yo, you know what? Fuck it. I think motherfuckers know what I mean.
Yeah, because the sequence would be off. If you added the right
exactly.
grammar. Yeah.
I think motherfuckers know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? I think y'all kind of.
Another guy says that verse like that. It sounds like you needed to rewrite that before
exactly.
you went in there. It sounds perfect when you do it. But let me give you another one.
Talk to me.
I got real detailed for
Let's
the listener here. Listen for the internal rhyming here with escape and tape because they're so similar to the rhyming of ace. You extended into a layered verse on 25 across the plan. Let me give you I'm a rhyme it here, right? He goes, while police still kill my race, young blood body himself, his own shoelace. My mind escapes, listen and vibe to the old blend tapes. Tracks get laced. Avoid the ops, that's the only place. Want to see me lace? Guess we handle that shit face to face. Yo, my thoughts race. Stay low, avoid court case. The other techniques I said, you did it here, but because of it, it allowed you to internal rhyme with words that don't even sound similar.
That's right.
And you break up the grammar and vocabulary and stuff like that. And it actually gives it such a stylistic illness because it makes it more extreme. Like the intensity is ratcheted up like a million on that shit.
That's what I was gonna say. Yo, you get me. Like if you know what though? But one day if me and you could write a book on my lines and call it Fallion, yo, that might cause you fucking you really get me. You really get me. That's bugged out. You really it's bugged out that I actually you my bro.
This is why I had fun with this record because he was doing a lot of stuff like I could share this to listen this way. You know what I mean? So that's what the catalog has albums that are about themes and ideas like Immortal Titans. And then it has stuff that is just like, yo, this is techniques. You need to hear the techniques. And I feel like you're not really heralded for techniques. Sometimes people dismiss you like, oh, he made a phrase. Oh, man, that's just not really listening at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's cadence, there's voice, there's power, the way you did it. Like, when we talk about Go Candidacy, that's what we're talking about. And we're not even talking about the theme, God. There is no theme of like the God as a militant creature in this universe of hell, living out a real life, not a fantasy revolutionary life, but a real life where children, mothers,
brothers,
fathers,
sisters,
brothers, like real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's really what I wanted to get across every time I do this when I build with you on air. You know what I mean? And we're coming to a close. So I want to leave it to you, like the last things you want to say about anything, whether it's suing, whether it's anything, you know.
I want to say this, man. I want to say, yo, thank you for having me letting me back on the show. I was supposed to come up here. I'm gonna tell everybody because I like to keep it green. I was supposed to come here a long time ago. I got caught up. I didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? And just so happens, see how the universe do. When I chose to come, it's on the coldest night of the fucking year. It's fucking bleeding. It's fucking bleeding out here. And you know what? I said, I gotta go. I gotta do it. You know what I'm saying?
Word is bond.
I gotta do it because this man came to my baby shower. This is my bro right here. This is God. But it's like I had to go because I was supposed to come before, and the God is so peace. He didn't get on me. But I said, yo, and he didn't even call me. I called him. I said, God, I got to do your show, man. I told you I was coming, and I ain't come. I got to get on your show, man. So I just want to say peace to you, God. You got good energy. You've always been very helpful. A lot of people, you've helped a lot of people. A lot of people I run into, they always, when I mention your name, they always say, yo, that brother helped me a lot. My man right here told me that. I said, yo, you got to come down with the camera. I'm doing Sunya. So he's like, yo, I got to go. That brother always helps me. Everybody says that. You're a beautiful brother. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be. I mean, I know you're interviewing Tragedy Gaddafi, but as I sit here, I never knew that you knew so much about my lyrics. And it's not my ego, because to me that's easing God out, but it's more so I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
That's peace, God.
So, yo, God, I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to have to write that Invisible Renaissance. We're going to have to write that book, God, for real, because you actually, you get it. Like, a lot of you, it's probably a couple, my brother gets it. It's a couple people who get it in its science. Mm-hmm. That's like, people get it. I mean, I got supporters. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But the doctors.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to put it. I'm here to put it into words for people that love it, though. You know what I mean? But yo, that's all the time we have here. Until next time, there'll be a lot more stories to tell, writings to recite, and records to rewind and reminisce.
One more thing before I go. Everybody follow the brand Drive-Bys with Chris Castro. Get on my IG, Tragedy252. Get on that IG at Drive-Bys the show. Follow the brand. Respectfully, we redirect the traffic.
Oh, yeah, and a quick preview of next show, because we have a little time here. Okay. Quick preview of next show. I'm going to have a lot of features back. I'm going to have classic crates. I'm going to be talking about possibly my favorite funk record of all time. Because I would do classic crates. I talk about a record.
What's your favorite funk record?
I'll tell you off air, because it's a surprise for next week.
I got you.
But, like, if I pick it, though, it changes
all
the time.
If you say mine, I'm going to bug out.
Yeah, but, like,
that's what I want to know.
It changes a lot, though, but when I do classic crates, I'm going to give you a crate that you need to have. Like, if I go to your house and you ain't got this shit, don't tell me you got funk. Or you don't tell me you got salsa if you ain't got this one. So I give you one that you need to have of the genre, and then one that, man, you're lucky if you find it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that'll be on the next episode of Classic Crates. I got controversial conundrums, though. Like, this will be, I'll give you a clue, a Master Ace album. A very good album, though, but how did he actually snuck in a gentrifier inside the story about Brooklyn. So I give you the controversial conundrum next episode. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Master Ace, my Juice Crew brother.
Yeah. And yo, as I conclude, I didn't get the chance, though. I was invited to the Bankai Hour with the most unboring man in the universe, Skanks, the rap martyr.
I got to say peace to Skanks. I love that. That's my little brother. I love him. Love Skanks.
Yeah, younger brother.
Younger brother. Oh, sorry. That's right. Thank you.
And he's got the show, The Hip Hop Brainiac, though. I was on Bankai Hour. They give me some questions. I flunked. I fucking flunked. Because he doesn't do them in the cadence I want. And I have too many hip-hop fucking records. I have at least 30,000 songs. Hundreds of albums.
Can I say one thing?
You know what I'm saying?
Can I say one more thing?
No, go ahead.
I'm par myself. I want everybody to come down to Fat Buddha January 27th, which is this Sunday. Fat Buddha. It's a free show, and I'm performing the first Intelligent Hoodlum album. I forgot to mention that. It's a free show. It's a free show. And I'm having the originals there who are Large Professor and
6
Joe
o'clock,
Fatal.
Right? Doors open at 6? I saw the flyer, though.
Yeah, look on my gram. I don't know the exact time.
Let's look at the flyer.
Yeah, please
We'll
do.
advertise it also on S.STREET Media if you go there. But I got to give a salute to the Bankai Hour. They let me talk.
Yes.
I was able to give the history of how I got this, how I was knighted a low life, a skill illustrator low, all of that history there. My hip-hop history, and we got to build a lot. I got to see 2 great MCs, Sir Chemist and Holly Ali, Peace to the God, Holly Ali, who has a new album. Very, very, very dope. And next week, we're also going to do extended Peace Course clips. I like to give little clips about what I'm teaching and stuff.
That's what's up.
And we're going to give some clips about that. And then we're also going to have a media mutation inspired by the drive-bys with Chris Castro. I'm going to go through what I think is culture vulturing, because it also has to do with selling out, though.
Exactly.
You know, and people that get to culture vulture, they get to do things for the culture while they rape it. So it's not. It's a gray area, though.
Wait a minute. That's like
gray
Dave
area.
Chappelle. You see Dave Chappelle's comedy show? His show, and he was like, he saves, but he rapes.
Yeah.
He rapes, but he saves.
Yo, let me give you, real quick, the first article I ever published. You want to know the name of the first article I ever published?
What?
It was called The 3 R's That Feed and Starve Hip-Hop. Radio, record labels, R&B.
Wow.
That was the very first piece I wrote. That's why I knew I was going to be a fucking hip-hop writer, because that was my first joint.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? And it was over 1,000 words, and they hated me because they couldn't fit the shit, and I made them fit it. But the Media Mutations Classic Crate, so I'm going to continue talking about the 2008 LPs, including Tragedy, Gaddafi's, all of his works and stuff like that, and much more. So, like I said, until next time, as I said again, more records to rewind and reminisce, more stories to tell, more writings to recite. So until next time, I'm your host, Suniaz Allah, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low. And as always, the Power Right Show is a never respect fake broadcast. Peace.
Peace.
Let me break it down for him. Yo, Gaddafi rhyme like 1,000 Spartans on Percocets. Eternal verbal vets, pushing the foreign like a rocket jet. Solidify, real as it gets. Fuck it, I'm just the best. QB, home of the Mets. Commander over sets. Underworld boss, I got now, so fuck who got next. I write my rhymes on a Pyrex. My mind dot text. Disregard video vixens that seem oversexed. Overthrow the best. X-Man squeezing abnormal text. 2-5 still alive set. QB the project. I'm what Batman is the Gotham. Foul lockness. I spit toxin. My doctrine, the ill synopsis. Kuwait banger. No man alive could ever stop this. Ghetto metropolis. Resurrect the most precious. Queens the desert. Salute a G, I represent it. Bow down and go against the grain and get beheaded. It's been a long time coming, putting that work in, my feet hurting. Walking so long, go hard for serving. Keep the gates open for all my rap fiends forever knowing. Lock it down, keep it going, putting work in. And keep that money flowing. We putting work in. And keep that paper flowing. Yo, boss aura, ghetto Quran, Phallus of Torah, Sodom and Gomorrah. Conquer more land than any explorer, animal skin. Chinchilla collar when the winter's in. I'm it man, hood grandmaster, my niggas let him in. Grand Royal, plan going too good to spoil you. I'm the hood, weak ass labels wanna try to ignore you. Game ain't the same, radio change, rappers is lame. Simple and plain, money maintained on the brain. Yo, I'm too exquisite, highly prescribed for jail midgets, $1 million digits. Open the gates for more business, yo, we take it all. Immaculate ball and never fall. Rise above y'all, 252, immortal thuggin' y'all. Hood Lazarus, healer game, rap activist. I stampede through these rap savages, snatch packages. My shit is primal, 100,000 for my arrival. Brown paper bag money, stack wealth with my style. It's been a long time coming, putting that work in, my feet hurting. Walking so long, go hard for serving. Keep the gates open for all my rap fiends forever knowing. Lock it down, keep it going, putting work in. And keep that money flowing. We putting work in. And keep that paper flowing. Young David. Say that though, say that. Inspiration. It's basic, man. Fuck it. Uniform garment shit. Uniform garment shit. Yeah. I'm my own cheerleader, nigga. Fuck it. Yeah. You already know how the guard get. Say that. Yeah. We the immortal rap titans, guerrilla rhyme goons. Spit poisonous typhoons at all my rivals. Mercenary militia squeezing semi-rifles. I advise you to analyze and think like the wise do. Deprived rappers of life, no one reviving you. Attached to the track with words sticking like Velcro. Technical foul wordplay, I'm throwing elbows. Bridge parallel to brimstone as far as hell go. Babies embracing guns soon as they done with Elmo. Had the same fate at one time and I'm doing well though. Prime Minister, the treasurer, rap embezzler, crime, etc. Nuclear warhead peddler. I go the distance, y'all niggas can't even measure up. 2-5, greatest alive, nothing's ahead of us. The most gracious armor, federal agent dodger. Prototype, they styles I basically fathered. God is back. You fathered them. More than a part of that. If hip hop's the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop is the body, body, then I'm the heart of that. I'm bringing the gods back. Peace. More than a part of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that.
Rare lines from a rare breed, viral news feed. Right toxicology doctrine on any loose leaf. Lose sleep, terrifying rappers over new beats. Blue heat combined with a gamma gram of the fuse speak. Penetrating the mic's body, the cuts too deep. Poetry is pain in my vein and you can't contain a beast. Conquer the streets, corporate America I release. Not my apex and my exodus, it's a summary. Spit with a passion, the Ming dynasties hungrily. Overlord, underworld, nigga, use an underling. Fall back, I'm counting money that all the runners bring. Building empires while y'all steady crumbling. Tootin' almond when I'm rhyming, son of a king. Cause I'm a different species and a different being. So I'm a visionary seeing what the gods seeing. In the cockpit, swerving in the European.
God is back. You falling down. More than a part of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that. If hip hop is the body, then I'm the heart of that. I'm bringing the gods back. Peace. More than a part of that.